So we saw a nice lightning talk about having good code samples and slides, and we saw a live demo of how to actually build those slides. Now it's time to have a live demo about live demos. I like meta, and so I figured this would be a fun way to do this. Uh, so here we're gonna kind of go through and do a little bit of a live demo. So what are we actually talking about? What are live demos even good for doing? So the first thing that I think about with a live demo is it's really good for zooming in on some topic, right? This is a way to engage the audience, right? Something you can show practical, real tools that you want people to use. It's really great for showing very specific code or specific details of something that's fairly complex. It's good at focusing on how, much more than why. And that means that there's also something that live demos are not really good at, and this is kind of zooming out, right? You don't want to try and step back or really get to the bigger picture with the live demo. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't engage the audience very well. It's hard to get people to focus on what or especially why you're saying something when you're doing a live demo. They're reading the demo, right? And so if you want to kind of highlight your perspective or focus on an interpretation, a live demo doesn't tend to be the best thing. All right, so let's look at how we actually want to do a live demo. First thing you have to do is you have to plan every single step. This is hard to do, but it's really, really, really important, right? How do you actually get into the live demo? How do you move from one step to the next step? How does everything work while you're doing this? You want a good plan from the beginning. Another thing to think about is how do you wrap up the live demo and go back to your slides? This is super, super important. If you have a live demo that you're mixing into the rest of a talk. And I'm curious, everybody should think about how many pages of notes they think I prepared in order to be able to do, a 7-minute lightning talk on this. I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see, and we'll actually look at the notes I have later. If you have your plan, what are the kind of key components of making your live demo a success? The first thing to think about is you've got to work within the projector and the audience view. You can't be trying to make the projector, the audience, look at your live demo the way you would while you're working at a desk with a big monitor. You have to go the other direction, right? Put yourself into the shoes of having a low resolution, terrible projector with bad lighting, right? And so I've zoomed all the way in, and this is actually the view that I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at the same thing you're seeing here. And it's important that you kind of learn how to work in that environment and feel comfortable working in that environment. You also have to learn the tools you're going to be presenting. You've got to know them really, really well, much better than you need to actually just use them day to day. And you got to know how to make them work for the demo. If you're going to use Visual Studio Code or an IDE, you need to be able to just jump right into it, pull things up, move around, right? If you want to show a preview, you have to know where it's going to come up. When it doesn't fit easily on the screen, you got to know how to fix that, how to rearrange everything so that you get the view that you want to show the audience, right? I'm a big fan of virtual desktops for live demo. It lets you kind of move between different tools in a way that's pretty smooth. You always have the same layout, the exact thing you're expecting each time you look at it. You want to find this tooling workflow that's going to be effective when you're demoing it live. The next is you have to make this feel real to the audience, right? You don't want to do something that's just going to oversimplify it, right? It's tempting to oversimplify it. In slide code, you don't have to make it compile, but when you're actually doing a live demo, you need stuff to compile. You need it to work with the real tools, and that's really hard. And so, actually use stuff here. And so I'm actually using, I have my editor set up. It does automatic formatting of my markdown here. You want to try and make it real so that people actually see how things work. The next thing is that you do want to make this live in the moment. So you'll see me make mistakes here, right? And that's fine. It's good to actually have some mistakes that you have to correct live, right? And then people can kind of see that, no, this is actually real. It's actually happening live, and it keeps them engaged. The other thing is to never, ever stop talking. And this is, I think, the hardest thing about a live demo. It's especially hard when you're going to actually talk about something that you're not currently typing. And when you're trying to do this, it's very hard to keep it in your head what you're trying to say and what you're trying to type. And you'll notice a technique I'm using here, which is I'm alternating. And so I'll type a word and I'll say a word, and I'll type a word and I'll say a word. It's really hard for your brain to handle text in two different streams. And so have a plan for how to do that and how to make it through it. This is also one of the weird times when things like and hesitations, that's actually fine when you're live demoing, because what you want to do is keep the audience engaged while you have time to make it through your live demo. Next, make it fast and comfortable. One thing you'll notice is that I move fast in a live demo. I move really, really fast. And that's because people can easily get bogged down in the live demo. And so you've got to rush just a little bit. But of course, you can't go too fast or it'll lose people. It's a hard balance to strike. And so I don't have a perfect advice here, but it's something you've just got to do. All right. Next up, okay, I said to plan, scratch all of that. It's not actually about planning. It's about practice. I mean, you need some plans, so you're not without a plan. You can do a great live demo with a minimal plan, but you have to practice, right? You have to make it comfortable and fast. And you don't move this, like a lot of people have talked to me after a live demo and they're like, how do you type that fast? By typing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't normally type this fast, but you got to practice it until you're comfortable and you're fast and you can keep the audience moving. And you have to practice things going wrong. And so you don't get locked into this rigid script. So let things go wrong, mess up intentionally, accidents happen, that's fine. You want to kind of get that full experience when you're practicing. All right. The last thing is you've got to cheat. Sometimes you're going to be feeling like, I forgot what I'm supposed to type. That's fine. Just have something prepared ahead of time, right? Just pull out a prepared selection of things really fast. This is not a big deal, right? People actually are fine with it. They know things are going to go wrong. The key for you as the presenter is to just roll with it, right? Have those canned bits catch back up. You can even use a pre-filled framework, kind of like what I'm using here, to move yourself through each step of what you want to present. Things do go wrong. Last but not least, you should really be honest and provide your source. This is actually one of my big mistakes that I've made in a lot of talks, is that I don't always kind of upload the source, provide people access to it. This hurts two things, both the credibility. It's really hard for people to believe live demo if they can't reproduce it, but it also hurts accessibility. Like it's nice that I have decent contrast and a big font, but even better is to actually have a Git repository that people can go and check out and correct whatever they've misread. I understand like uploading can be hard. This is actually my problem, is that, you know, if you work for a company, you have to like sort out licenses or something, but I really encourage everyone, try to do this. I'm actually going to try and get this uploaded on my GitHub page, just so that I actually have done this yet, but I couldn't get it ready before the talk. But try and actually provide a link to things. It's so helpful if you're doing a live demo to then kind of show all of the inputs so that people can see them. And so with that, I do want to just show you what kind of notes went into the planning for this, right? And so these are all of the notes that I was taking to myself in my initial run through, trying to plan out every step of what I want to do, okay? Hundreds of lines of notes went into a 7-8 minute talk. And so with that, I've done a live demo, and I hope this helps you all do your next live demo, because I think it's a really fun way to engage audiences.
Thank you, Chandler. That was awesome.